We are about halfway through MLB The Show's fall circuit, their competitive esport event that they are hosting. And what I want to do is go through the most popular players chosen in this circuit so we can get an idea of what players that the best players in the game are looking for. Is this going to be the best MLB The Show team? Probably not, but it's mainly because of the rules in the tournament. But I want to go through the types of players and things that these top players are looking for in this tournament. So if you're building your God Squad trying to make World Series, you get an idea what the most popular things are that may help you do the best in this game. So first of all, if you do want to sign up for the circuit, I would recommend giving it a go. I'm going to leave the link in the description in the comments down below. If you do want to give it a go, it's very fun to watch people go out there and compete. Part of the reason that some of the players that I'm going to mention are going to be a little weird is because there's a certain team build they have to use. They can only use 3 players that are above 96 overall. They have an individual amount of each type of player they can use. So you'll see me mention a bunch of 99s and so on, but also mention some players that are lower overall players that are more underrated players that these people seem to use a ton. And without further ado, let's hop on into the list of players position by position that I saw used the most in this circuit. Jorge Posada's 91 overall. Yes, this card that came at the very beginning of the year is a very popular card to be used. He's got switch hitting and is a great hitter versus lefties. A lot of people in this tournament are preparing to face 99 Randy, so Jorge Posada is a great lower diamond for people to use for that really good bet. And honestly, the defense doesn't hurt him that much at catcher. It would be nice to see a 99 Posada soon, and at that point, that would be a top tier catcher option at this point in the game. There was a lot of Ketel Marte for those that didn't have him parallel 5. Like, honestly, for a card that's been out so long in the year, he is still very viable with the level of contact he has, 114 and 122 at parallel 3. And low 80 power plays pretty solid still. But the switch hitting is nice. The positional versatility is great. It's always good to have a nice switch hitter in your lineup, especially with that contact being able to play on all difficulties of the game. Eduardo Escobar, the dude that I loved, definitely was a very viable use for this tournament and even his supercharge because he is currently supercharged. But the switch hitting is always nice. The positional versatility is great. And Escobar actually brings more power to the table while Ketel Marte brings more contact. Both these players are good, and also Escobar gets some quirk switch. Boosts him up a little bit, I would say. Ian Happ was a very popular low diamond. Again, a switch hitter. He brings better power versus righties. So people are using some variation of Ian Happ on a few teams. He's got a very popular switch hitting swing. It would be really cool if he had like a really high 90 card that had some more well-rounded attributes. Of course, 95 Nick Castellanos was a great use because people were planning on facing 99 Randy Johnson. So the 125 versus left is top tier. At the very least, this card is a really good bench bat for most teams right now. Nick Switcher would actually use the bit. Good contact, good power, switch hitting, and solid defense. Honestly, one of the more well-rounded offensive cards in the game right now. Again, you're seeing the preference of the switch hitting. A lot of players like switch hitting in this game, so keep an eye out on some big switch hitters that we may get at some point soon. And then 93 Teoscar Hernandez, great splits versus lefties. Honestly, he's a viable bench bat right now and gets some quirks, so he's a really good bench bat right now. But people are starting him on their teams because of the theme team. Now we get into the really good diamonds with none other than 99 Frank Thomas. I think a lot of people think he's the best first baseman in the game still. He's really good versus left, especially a lot of people who have him parallel 5. It doesn't seem like there's a reason to take him off of most teams, so if you have not completed your live series collections, just know Frank Thomas is still a top tier first base option. 99 Mookie actually got a lot of use. In the outfield and at second base, he was used a good bit. He was used a lot, meaning because again, the splits versus lefties, people were really focusing on. But to be fair, he actually did really well when I saw him play. Definitely looks like a very, very top tier second base outfield option if you're looking for someone that's good versus left and with great power. Chipper Jones was honestly one of the top couple players in the tournament. He was really good versus the lefties, but still really solid versus right. He had a lot of Oppo Tacos at Laughing Mountain. Very fun switch hitter bet. If you have been on the fence on him, even at shortstop, just saying, he's going to be a top hitting option there at this current point in the game. George Brett, of course, was used, you know, big collection award. Even though a lot of people are playing to face 99 Randy Johnson, the really good contact versus both sides is great, and he's still hit for great power in this circuit. Andrew McCutchen, still a top tier center field option. People were using supercharged Mike Trout a ton, but Andrew McCutchen still stayed in lineups because of the level of contact that he brings. So this is still, my opinion, the best card in the game right now with the level of contact, power, fielding, and speed. And yes, there were some people that did use Josh Donaldson. I think that most people are viewing Donaldson, McCutchen, and Brett as some of the best hitters in the game right now. These are the big 399s and Chipper Jones that were used the most in the circuit for sure offensively. And in terms of the pitching staff, Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, and supercharged Corbin Burnes were the big 3 pitchers used, mainly Randy and Nolan Ryan because the outlier fastballs that they bring, and also just in general, they're some of the toughest pitchers to face right now. People use supercharged Corbin Burnes. He's got the better walks per 9. He has 120 on his base attributes, meaning he has that outlier sinker like he does on his All-Star Game card for bought better control. But this comes down to the point that people like sinkers and cutters with high velocity, if you can get the good walks per 9 on the card, then they would rather use a pitcher with the high walks per 9 and, you know, pretty good hits per 9 too. All-Star Game Corbin Burnes is good hits per 9 too, but this version of the supercharge definitely brought more walks per 9 and Ks per 9, which people really valued. So hits per 9 does not tell the whole story. And then Grayson Rodriguez and Roy Halladay were used some as well. Yes, Roy Halladay was definitely used, which I didn't expect to see him used as much at this point, but he's actually still a viable starter with the sinker cutter. Aroldis Chapman was definitely the top reliever, no doubt about it. Just the outlier 4-seam was great. His slider was getting a lot of swings and misses. Definitely the toughest reliever to hit right now overall. And then the best righty was definitely without a doubt Raleigh Fingers. He was used a ton. A lot of people have higher parallel on him. What makes him so good that he's a change of pace from other pitchers. So you would face like Randy and Nolan and Chapman all with like outlier, right? And then you'd go to Raleigh Fingers with his really slow forkball at 79 that looks even slower than it actually is. So that forkball is one of the best pitches in the game right now. And it shows that, you know, velocity does not need to be the only thing that you can use to pitch well with the pitcher. Other popular relievers were Gregory Soto, Zach Britton in terms of other lefties, Joe Smith, Jorge Lopez, Devin Williams, and Adam Wainwright were all popular as well. Waino, Lopez, and Smith all have sinkers. Lopez has the velo. Joe Smith and Wainwright are more of the control type dudes. But Joe Smith was very popular, the 125 hits per 9, the sidearm release, and the sinker slider mix. And then, of course, Devin Williams, always a popular pick in these circuits because he's got the very slow cutter. That's honestly one of the best pitches in the game as well, the 83-mile-per-hour cutter. So, what is the point of this team? Why did I want to go over this? Try to pick up on any trends that you're seeing people pick on when you're trying to build your best team. There's a reason that these players are being used a ton. First of all, if you're playing on the higher difficulty of the game, Randy Johnson is still a legitimate fear. Randy's going to be the toughest one to face, and honestly one of the toughest pitchers we've ever had in MLB The Show ever. And even though he's easier to hit at this point in the game, it's good to have hitters that are good versus lefties, just in case you face Randy. But you also do want to have a lineup that is ready to face a righty. That's why guys like George Brett and Chipper Jones were used, because you had the switch hitting or the lefty matchup that was still good versus lefties in case you faced a righty, because there are some more good righty pitchers. People also really enjoy contact at the higher point in the game on legend difficulties where the contact comes into play. So if you're someone who's making a World Series push, you got to be ready to play a little bit on legend, so consider picking players with some good contact. And finally, switch hitting was definitely a premium. There aren't that many really good switch hitters, but seeing someone like a Chipper that exists right now, and maybe we get another Posada soon, or maybe a boosted Ketel Marte or something. Having switch hitting is incredibly valuable to your lineup, so always consider that when building your team. And as you see with my God Squad I'm rocking, I'm echoing some of the current players that are used in the circuit. I'm trying Mookie in left, Chipper at short, Kutch I obviously have in center. I have Donaldson at third. You want to have a well-rounded lineup, maybe with 1 or 2 switch hitters. Maybe consider using these type of players when playing on the higher difficulties in the game in MLB The Show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments as well down below. If you could only use 399 overalls on your team, who would they be? But I appreciate you all watching. You all have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back again with another video tomorrow. Deuces.